change something up what I wanted to do, okay? In the middle of the stream, I guess, we're gonna change something up. I wanna use a topic today. If there was a way in it, there's a way out of it.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen.
And we're gonna talk about Jehovah Jireh today. God the provider. And the song that you just had up here, it said, if he has his hands on you. In other words, if you have accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and your Savior, then he has his hands on you, okay?
Amen.
All right. Go with me to Genesis. Everybody have a pencil?
And a bulletin, so you can write your notes. Does everybody have a bulletin?
Genesis 22. Dealing with Abraham. How many of you think 25 years is a long time to wait for something?
Yes, yes.
Huh?
My God.
You wonder if it's going to come to pass, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, we'll start at Genesis 22 and 1, and we'll go back and forth a little bit, but I want to establish something that if he has his hands on you, then you can trust in him,
Amen.
that he will provide.
Yes.
It says that it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham. In other words, he tested Abraham, okay? And said unto him, Abram, and he said, behold, here am I. And he said, take now thy son, thy only son, Isaac. We know that Abraham had another son by Hannah, okay? We already know that. And get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee. He doesn't tell Sarah, because Sarah wouldn't never let him take her son, okay? But before we go down into verse 22, we need to know that God had told Abraham and Sarah that they were going to have a son. Now, Abraham was 75 when he left his relatives, okay? And when Isaac is born, he's almost 100, or around about 100 years old. Now, God promises him that Isaac is the promised son. Now, 25 years it took to get Isaac. Now here in chapter 22, verse 1, he's saying, now, I want you to go. In other words, I want you to kill Isaac now. Now, does that make any sense to you? 25 years. Some of the things that you're going through in your life ain't making any sense right now, is it? You say, I'm trying, God, and I'm trying to do this, and it just don't look right. Don't you ever try to figure God out. It don't look right.
Amen.
That's what God needs, because he can turn it all around and make it look right.
Amen.
And you know what? I was thinking about when Elisha and his servant, and they sent all these Syrian soldiers to come to capture him.
Yes.
The man of God could see through the eyes of God, and he seen that it was more with them than it was with the soldiers.
Amen.
But what we are seeing, we are like that servant. We see all the soldiers and just me and you and Elijah, and it ain't going to work out.
Amen.
It don't look good.
Yes.
But if there's a way in it,
That's
surely God can bring you out of it.
Amen.
My God.
Now here in verse 22, chapter 22, where he's telling Abraham what he is to do, right? And listen to it go in verse 3. It says, and Abraham rose up early in the morning and sat on his ass and took 2 of his young servant men with him, and Isaac his son, and cleaved the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place which God had told him. Now wait a minute. I don't even know if I'm getting up. And I don't even know if I'm going to pack the wood. Because if he packed the wood, surely he has a knife. Now, it took 25 years for him to get Isaac.
Yes.
And here you want me to sacrifice him. But there is a plot to this story that in your life there's a plot that you have to understand the plot.
Yes.
See, Abraham has faith in God. He knows that if God takes Isaac, God has to raise him back up from the dead. See, the
Amen.
plot, Abraham knows
Amen.
it. So I'll get the wood. And I'll take the knife because I know the God that I serve is able to raise him back up again.
Amen.
Now, when we come back to the book of Genesis, and it said God began to create man and took him from the dust of the earth. And it says that he made a man. But man was still not breathing.
Right.
Until God breathed into man's nostril, then he became a living soul. God can give life to that which is dead. He can bring water into the desert
Yeah.
to water whatever needs to be done. Amen?
Amen.
Wherever you're at in your lifetime, if he has his hands on you,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about him bringing you through.
Amen.
Now here is Abraham. And I told you before, he doesn't tell Sarah because I don't think Sarah's going to let Isaac go. Not this time. You're not going to. No, you can't do it. But here's the man of God. And as he walks with God, he learns to trust God day by day. You are going to have to learn to trust God day by day. You know what we like to do? We like to borrow from tomorrow.
Amen.
No, don't worry about tomorrow, but today. For God has tomorrow in his hands.
Amen.
My God.
And he said, on the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. I'd be getting nervous now.
Yeah.
I got sacrificed my only son, my Lord.
Yes.
And listen, and I love this 5th verse here. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide ye here with the asses, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. Now wait a minute. He knows he's got to sacrifice Isaac. He knows he's going to kill him now. But he tells the young man, said, you stay here. We're going to go up yonder, and we're going to come again unto yourself. Sometimes he said, speak the word.
Come on.
Make it life. If you will speak the word, it can bring life into the dead situation.
Amen. Amen.
It's like when Lazarus was in the tomb, and it says that Jesus said, come forward, Lazarus, come forward. And the word that he spoke, Lazarus got up out of his grave and came forward.
Life. Glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you,
And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac's, his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. Now Isaac, this says, in his teens now, so he knows what something's going on. Because I know Abraham have taught him about the sacrifices that he had to make to God, okay?
Yes.
And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, my father. He said, here am I, my son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood. But where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Where's that lamb at? He's not knowing that he's that burnt offering that he's going to sacrifice on that altar. Because he knows that if God takes it, God got to raise him up, right?
Amen.
Numbers 23 and 19 said, God is not a man that what?
He should lie.
Not the son of man that he should repent. But having said it, shall he not do it? Having spoken it, shall he not
make it good.
Amen.
God cannot lie. So if he does not allow Isaac, his son, to be the heir of the covenant that he had given unto Abraham, God becomes a liar.
my God.
And and he cannot lie.
Amen.
And Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they were both of them together. Now he says, God's going to provide the lamb. Now he done told Abraham, I want you to sacrifice Isaac on the altar. But he says, God will provide. And this is where a lot of people get in and bring it in. They said that where Jehovah Jireh, one of the names of God, that God will provide.
Amen.
And you got to know in your life that God will provide wherever you're at, whatever you're going to. If you be obedient, Abraham is being obedient unto the Lord thy God. And they came to the place which God told him of. And Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac. My God, now he said, I'm bound him now. Now Abraham's going to carry out his word.
Yes.
How much more must God carry out his word?
Amen.
And laid him on the altar. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay him. Can you imagine that? Got the knife drawn back. Ain't none of y'all got no knives in your pocket, right? Ain't none of y'all got no knives in your pocket. Got the knife in his hand, back to slay. Now this is the only 25 years I waited for this man. And here you want me to slay him just like that. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said unto him, Abram, Abram. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For God seeth that thou hast not withheld thy son, thy only son, from me. God's got to know that you mean what you say. We say a lot of things that we don't mean. But when he knows that you mean what you say to him, amen?
Yes. Glory to God.
And it says in the 13th verse, and it says, Abram lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in the bush. Now, what do you think? You think that ram got caught accidentally in that bush?
No.
That was a plot of God. God had it already set up the whole time. He was already, he just wanted to know, was Abraham going to be faithful? He wanted to know if you're going to be faithful to him when you're going through your situation.
Yeah.
Because when everything is fine, you don't need to be tested.
Amen.
My Lord.
Okay. Go to 1 Kings 17. Everybody knows. Talking about Elijah. Does he have his hands on you?
Yes. Yes.
If he has his hand on you, what are you worrying about?
Thank you, Jesus.
1 Kings 17. I want to see that God will provide for his people. David said, I was a young man and now I am old, and I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Now here, Elijah prophesies against Ahab. And everybody knew who Ahab's wife was, right?
Jezebel.
Jezebel, she was a bad lady. A whole lot of men feared her.
Yes.
She spoke one time unto him, and she told him, said, when you had killed all those prophets and everything, she said, tomorrow, this time,
Amen.
it's going to be you or me. One of us are going to be like those dead prophets was. And it says that he ran from her.
Amen.
A man that called far down for him. Jezebel was a bad lady, buddy. Let me tell you. She bad lady.
Amen.
Amen.
And he takes it. And let's go to the 8th verse. We'll begin at the 8th verse. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Elijah, arise and get to thee to Zorph, which belongeth to the Zidon, and dwell there. And behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain you. Listen what it says.
Amen.
She gonna sustain him. Now,
Yes.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we'll get there. But she ain't got nothing. She said she got a little bit of meal and a little bit of oil. She gonna make a cake for her and her son. They're gonna eat and they're gonna die. Huh? But he says she will sustain you. She ain't got nothing. But before we get there, I'd like to place that with the ravens. How do the ravens bring him food 2 times a day? I know why you tell a raven.
Right.
That's like going out here telling these blackbirds or those robins we got, said I need you to take some food to a certain person. How would you feel? Just say you hungry. And you're trusting God and believing in God. And you say, man, I don't know how I'm going to make it. And you look out the window and you hear something pecking on the window. And that's a raven. I'm just saying, got you a T-bone steak. And you hungry. And you reach that down and get that T-bone steak. Would that not cause you to trust God even more?
Yes, 2 years. Amen.
Because you wouldn't know how to wear a raven bringing that. Lord! Oh, yeah. Well, I tell you the best. I like the ribeye steak.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Trusting God in a situation. Some of you are in some situation right now.
Yes.
And you can't see your way out.
Mm.
You can't feel like it's going to come.
No.
It's not about feeling and serving God. If you know that He has His hands on you, you can trust in Him. You can be assured. It might get dark. It might rain. And I say sometimes the water might come clean up to your mouth. But one thing is for sure, God cannot let you drown.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
And here He is telling this.
Thank you, Jesus.
Telling me a lot.
Thank you, Jesus.
But trust has to be in God. And he tells you, he said, I got a widow woman going to take care of you. But if you know what the widow woman got, you ain't going to trust God. Now here they go. So after the time comes, the water dries up, and now he has to move. Now he has to go to that place because as long as the ravens bring him food, as long as the water down, he ain't leaving. Some of us get in that comfort zone and we ain't gonna move. As long as the water died and the ravens bringing them T-bones, we ain't going nowhere. God needs you to move. Why? Because He needs Elijah to get to the widow woman because the widow woman needs some help.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Come on.
My Lord.
Then it says, for thus saith the Lord of God. He's taking this long journey. He's hungry now. The barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the curse of all fail until the day that the Lord send rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah. Now what would you do? You got a little bit of food, and here I come, and say, God said He wants you to feed me first. Make me a cake. And then you can make one for you and your son. And you already know you just got enough for you and your son. What are you going to tell me? Go get your own food. Because this is all we got. And we're going to eat this and then die.
Amen.
But she obeyed what the man of God said. See, we're scared to obey the man of God. We're scared to trust the woman of God, what they're saying out of the word of God. But when you are obedient unto it, God has to keep His word.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Because remember, He already spoke to Elijah. He told him, I got a widow that's going to sustain you. Now, she's going to meet your needs over there. And there ain't enough to feed 3 head, really. But God needs to do a miracle because the woman don't have enough food to go through the drought that is there in the land.
Amen.
So she's obedient to Him. She
Yes.
trusted Him. And He tells her that it won't fail. And then the 15th verse, and she went and did according to the sayings of Elijah. She and he and her house did eat many days. What in the world? Can you imagine a handful of meal and just a little bit of oil, and they eat for days. It doesn't say how long that the famine or the drought lasted, but they were three of them were able to eat. Now, some of y'all would take a whole lot. You know what I mean? Some of y'all put rails on your plates.
They ain't angel food.
Huh?
They ain't angel food.
Well, you can look at the manna that they had. Oh my God. But what God can take, says God can take little and make it much.
Yes.
Look how he fed the people
Yes.
with the fish and the loaves.
Yes.
My God.
In the verse 16, and the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the curse of all fail. According to, this is what, read this with me, in verse 16, the last portion of this paragraph, where it says, according to the word of the Lord, you need to sometimes take this and take hold of,
Yes.
according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Elijah, did not fail. He had to perform his word. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Today we're living in a time that we have to trust God when you can't see him.
Amen. Amen.
We walk by what?
Faith.
And not by what?
Sight.
And buddy, tell her, if we ain't got something in front of us, we ain't moving.
Amen.
My God.
All right. Philippians 4 and 19. But my God shall supply all
my needs
according to what?
his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. Oh.
And I like the scripture said, the earth is the
Lord's,
Lord's, and the
the
fullness thereof, the
world and they that dwell therein.
There's not anything made that was made, but was not made
All
by
right.
God.
Yes,
And
sir.
men want to know why he claimed some of the stuff, because it is his.
Yes.
And I heard somebody say, well, he didn't build the Ford car, Ford company built it, but all the substance that the Ford company put together
Yes.
came from God.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
his.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
How many know that gold rings you got on, them diamonds you got, they're God's. You just use them.
Yes. Amen. Amen.
You say, well, I dug them up, don't make no difference. Some of you say, well, I paid for them, don't make no difference, still here.
Amen. Amen. That's the truth.
All right, let's go to Luke 8. We serve a God that is faithful. And let me hear you say, if he has his hands on you,
If he has his hands on you,
you're going to be all right.
you're going to be all right.
Let's go to verse 43. And 43 is dealing with the woman with the issue of blood. Some of us have tried everything we know to do. We went to our moms, our dads, our aunts, our uncles, everybody, instead of going to God.
Yes.
And a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which had spent all her living upon physician, and neither could be healed of any. She didn't have no other choice now. Some of you, your resources have got to be depleted. You ain't got no help from nowhere. You can't turn to nobody but look straight up to heaven towards what God is. That's the only way some of you got to make this thing work.
My God.
Just like her, she done spent everything. She ain't got no more. She can't try no more doctors now. It said, came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood was stanched. When she touched him, everything that she had. God, if he's got his hands on you, you're going to be all right. Don't look like it, don't feel like it. But you got to walk still in the same path. You can't deviate from the path that he has set for you. Amen?
My God.
All right, let's move. We're in Luke. Let's go to Luke 13. And this day he's in the synagogue. He's teaching. And this is why you hear me say a lot. Don't stay home. Because you don't know what God might want to do the day you decide to stay home. It says in the 10th verse, 13th chapter of Luke, in the 10th verse. And he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. Now, it ain't good to heal on the Sabbath, is it?
That's what they said.
But I like it. He said if you had a donkey caught down in the wet, would you not dig him? Would you let him lay down there all day during the Sabbath, or would you pull him up? They'd pull the animal out, but they'd let a human being die. Ain't that something?
Amen.
The 10th verse. The 11th. And behold, there was a woman which had a spirit of an infirmities 18 years. I don't know that, but I just believe she was faithful coming to church every Sunday. Didn't have no excuses why she couldn't come. And some theologian, when you read about it, they say she was bent over so bad she could almost look back between her legs. She was bent over that bad. What in the world is she doing in church? Some of us laying home and depressed. Some of us frustrated. Some of us angry. I ain't going to church today. Nothing happened. But for 18 years, it said this woman had this infirmity, and I believe she went to the synagogue on the Sabbath. It says when Jesus saw her, he called her to him and said unto her, Woman, thou art loose from thy infirmities. And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight. Can you imagine that?
Amen.
I don't know how to, you know how some of y'all do, because some of you like me, your bones are cracking now, ain't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you imagine she been over like this, and he straightened her up, and them bones just cracking coming up?
Yeah.
Lord, have mercy.
That is so.
Amen. Yeah.
Oh,
Hallelujah.
I'm telling you.
Amen.
My
Hands
God.
on her. Amen.
She said some changes is happening in this body. Lord, have mercy.
Thank you, Lord.
And when she stood straight up, I know she had to shout for joy.
Yes.
Look what the Lord has done.
Glory
Yes.
to God.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Went in, bent over, and came out straight now.
Yes.
Lord, hallelujah.
Praise God. Praise God.
Glory to God.
If he got his hands on you,
Yes.
don't give up.
Amen.
Like I said, if there's a way in it, with God, there's a way out. I can't
Yes.
think of it. What's them things you ever seen? Got all these directions in them. You go into them, they got
Maze.
A maid,
Maze,
yes.
Amen.
And we get in there, some of us lose our mind in there.
Amen.
But let me tell you something. God, if you allow him to guide you,
Yes.
walk the whole way around it, you'll find out. It was easy with God, but when you do it on your own, boy, it is so hard.
Yes.
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 My God.
Amen.
That's right.
Some of you try to do it on your own, but it
Ain't gonna
can't
work.
do it.
Amen.
Don't work.
Amen.
Today, right where you sit, if you bow your heads.